Welcome back to another story from Charles Chestnut's book, The Conjure Woman. And today we are talking about Sis Becky's Pickaninny. Now, remember, The Conjure Woman was published in 1901 and is a series of short stories that are told by a former enslaved man named Julius to the new owner of a former plantation turned vineyard. And this guy's name is John and his wife's name is Annie. Now, we've reached the point in the story where John is done with Julius because Julius keeps telling him all of these stories, and it seems like all of these stories end up self-serving and helping Julius at the end of the day. And it's made John have some seriously bad financial decisions, with the exception of purchasing the vineyard, of course. Now, in this story, John even goes so far as to tell Julius that the reason why Southern black people are in the position that they're in is because they have all of these silly, superstitious beliefs in the first place. John says that Southern black people are destined for a life of acquiesce and little prosperity should they continue their belief in these silly superstitions. And this all stems from the fact that Julius carried around a rabbit's foot. Now, the reason John and his wife Annie moved to North Carolina in the first place is because Annie was sick, and John needed to take her someplace where she could possibly feel better, but her health was still kind of failing. Now, Julius uses this newfound information of Annie's continuously getting sick to tell John and Annie yet another story, this time about a little boy and his mother who were separated due to, as Julius said, the mother's own failings. The story goes that Sis Becky's husband died, and upon having this happen, the master actually trades Becky for a horse, leaving her son orphaned. During this time, Becky's son, Moses, actually ends up getting sick a lot. And so the resident conjurer on the plantation, Aunt Peggy, turns him into a mockingbird so that he can fly to see his mother from time to time. Now, Peggy concocts a plan to actually lame the horse that Becky was initially traded for in order to get Becky back on the plantation, and they end up doing just that. So it all works out well. And if you're like me, you're trying to figure out, well, what was the point of the story? Well, Julius, not really having a point, just related it to the fact that if Becky had had a rabbit's foot, her husband wouldn't have died, she wouldn't have been traded, and her son wouldn't have gotten sick. And at this point, I'd be like John, be like, Ninja, what? Well, he can't say Ninja what, but I'd be like, Ninja, what? But of course, Annie completely understands the moral of this story. Go figure, right? Now, after some time, John starts to notice that Annie is feeling a little bit better, and she's noticing it too, and they can't believe that she's in such good health. Well, one day Annie goes to lay down, and as John is folding up her stuff, he finds Julius's rabbit foot stuffed in the pocket of one of Annie's aprons. At that point, John has no choice but to believe in the power of the rabbit's foot because it does seem to have helped his wife get better. I guess Julius again for the win. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments.